national holiday. It is Labor Day. I am so happy to be coming on live with you guys. I have not been able to do my regular lives because I've been under the weather with mass allergies. The ragweed, it's still affecting me, but I finally started getting Sudafed yesterday, so it's kicking in. So nobody is here yet, and that's fine, but I really just wanted to chat today. Like, I've got my notes, but I'm scatterbrained with the allergies and the brain fog, and I just wanted to come on and say hi, check in with everybody. Yesterday was Kiely Rodni's birthday. How effing sad is that? Dang. It's really effing sad to me. So let's see. What can I do here to draw my people in? Nobody's expecting me to go live, and I only announced it like 8 minutes ago or something. So, all right, I'll just go ahead and be all by my lonesome. I know somebody will come in. You always do. And what else? So it's Monday. It's September 2nd. It's just about a little bit after 12:15. It's 12:18 to be exact. And yeah, yesterday was a really heavy day. CB, what's up happening, girl? I think you're girl, right? Doesn't matter. Thanks for coming in and thanks for saying hi. Oh, frick. My mic. Is the sound okay? Because I think my mic, it might be upstairs. Hold on. It might be in my purse. It's so annoying to travel around with it. It is. It's in my purse. Okay. Because I take it to the yoga studio with me. And then I bring it home for this. So let me get that set up. And look, Alice Morale Dennis. And who else we got? Just the three of us. Am I missing anybody? Let's see. Okay. I'm always afraid I'm going to hit the off button when I'm touching my laptop like that. Let's see. Is the sound any better with this or without it? I don't know. I'll just put it on right there. Let's see how that goes. I've got my funny shirt on again today, the one with the crazy sleeves that Mark is like, why don't you just use some double-sided tape? And it's like, well, I would if I knew where it was. Watching the world. Yeah, happy Labor Day, you guys. It is formally now the end of summer. I think today is the last day of summer, or is it the first day of fall? You know, Labor Day, the way it marks that, the way Memorial Day marks the first day of summer. So I guess, I don't know, same difference, last day of summer, first day of fall. So we got Alice. Sound is perfect. I'm cleaning my Airbnb rental, but we'll be listening. Oh, very cool. Where's your Airbnb rental, CB? You don't have to tell us. It's all top secret. So yeah, I'm sure you guys all thought about Kiely like all day yesterday, like I did. And, you know, it's just devastating. I really wanted to come onto a live, but at the same time, I wanted to just lay low. Hey, Shan, what's up? I kind of felt like it was more respectful to just lay low for her birthday. Get all foggy-eyed. I don't remember what I did last year. I know the first year that I had my channel, I'd only had it for a couple of days when it was her birthday, and I skipped making a video on her birthday, but I think that was just kind of by chance. I don't actually remember. So I'd have to check in my files to see about last year if I did or didn't. I kind of think I probably didn't. But yeah, I was looking to see if you were going to go live last night, Shan, and I would have loved it if you did. But for whatever your reasoning was, it's cool that you didn't. I really do think it's kind of nice just to lay low and mourn her passing. I mean, I believe that she probably was unalived that horrible night or shortly thereafter. But I do have a shred of, I don't know if it's hope, I guess maybe, But I do think it's possible that she's being held captive somewhere and being tortured. And I would not wish that on anyone, of course, but wouldn't it be cool if she were alive? I mean, that's why I've brought up those other cases like JC, what's her name? Duggard, JC Duggard, and Elizabeth Smart. And then those 3 women that were held captive in a home in Cleveland for like about 8 years. I mean, it's horrifying, but these people, they survive it and they're glad that they did. So if Kiely were still alive, wouldn't that be amazing? But I have a feeling that I know what was gruesome that night, and that I know maybe some of the clues that scamming kept dropping. So I wanted to talk about some of those without crying. But let me say hi to everybody that is here. I see that Anna Bees came in and Fred Field. Let's see. Oh, it was your granddaughter's 19th birthday watching the world? How freaking wild is that? So she was born the same day as Ms. Kiely. Oh, that just gives me chills. And Shan says, yeah, I wanted to respectfully honor her birthday by not going live. I worked on my spreadsheet instead. And Sandra's here. Hello, hello. So yeah, I was able to catch the rest of Shan's 3.5 hour live from, what was it, from Friday night? So I came in on the panel for about an hour, and then I stayed in the chat for a little bit, and then I dozed off. So I caught up with it, and I was so glad that I did. You guys, watch the entire thing if you can. I know that it might be a little tedious for some. It was tedious for me, honestly. I'm like, I'm a nerd, but I'm not like your level of nerd, Shan, and I say that as a compliment. I mean, she's going through that freaking fire cam pretty much frame by frame. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, she found some stuff at the end, you guys. It's creepy AF, but watch her entire video if you can. If you want to put it on like 1.5 or 1.25, because Shan does talk fast. So I wouldn't recommend, just like with me, I wouldn't recommend listening to me at more than like maybe 1.25 or 1.5 at the most. But if you're cleaning your house or something, I actually watched it with my sister. So for me, having my sister there with me watching it, it was really cool. And then we were able to talk about it too. But without her moral support, I don't know that I would have been able to make it through, just because I would have been like, squirrel. So let me go through my regular stuff, literally frame by frame for many folders. Oh, I thought I was exaggerating, girl. Look at you. Right, Fred, it hits a little harder in the gut when you realize. Same age, and yes, I cannot imagine my mental state if it were her. See, and this is why I don't believe that she was unalived, because Lindsay was not really grieving. I mean, I think she was grieving in a way, but on with the show. I got bills to pay, and quit talking about us, and we got this, and get some hobbies. Okay. Please hit that like button if you don't mind. And make sure you're still subscribed. You guys, I got to tell you, I'm down like 100 subs from the last 12 months. And it could be anything. It could be because, I'm a terrible content creator. I believe that it's the shadow banning. Because I got my first 3,000, 4,000 subs in like 6 months or something. I got 1,000 subs in like 3 weeks when I started. And I was bad back then. I was. Subscribe. Make sure that you have your notification bell on to ring, and share my channel with your friends and family if you think they might like it. I am really wanting to keep up with your chat and then get on with some of the stuff. But let me just drop a big nugget after I do my Disclaimer, everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube, and it's an entertainment platform. So I think I thought about this over the last 2 years, and I think I've probably said it at least once, but I think that we need to say it more. And I thought of it just in the last like 24 or 48 hours with all of the potty stories from Scammy, popping a squat. So she was explaining, in my opinion, why you might find her DNA and Kiely's DNA all over the forest ground. And I think that that might be what was gruesome. I think that Kiely was getting jumped. I think it was a beatdown. I think she was violated. I think Scammy was orchestrating it. This is my opinion. This is kind of what I've conceptualized over the last 24 months. And just like she was trying to explain away her DNA in the car and her fingerprints all over everything, with sitting in the car, charging the phone, talking about charging the phone, getting a hold of the mom, talking about getting a hold of the mom. Yeah, right. Because those are the things that people talk about when they're doing them. Oh, look, we're charging our phone now. Are you charging your phone? I'm charging my phone. Anyway, weird. So, and Nick G with his helping her figure out how to buckle a seatbelt and how to attach a seatbelt to an actual pants belt, explaining his fingerprints all over the effing place. So I think that people were prophylactically trying to explain their DNA in places that maybe it shouldn't have been, or that it would have been suspicious, by just saying like, well, yeah, I told you we were popping a squat all over the freaking forest, right? And no, I don't think so. Especially with a belt, you're not going to like take off a belt. If you have on a thong, I don't know. You're not going to take your belt off, like all the way off. Anyway, we don't need to get too graphic. So that's what I think happened. I think that that's what was gruesome. And I think that Kiely's DNA was everywhere. And I think that her falling in a hole was one of the many times that it was a beatdown. And like I said, I'm sorry, she was violated. I firmly believe that. I can't imagine that she wasn't. And I hope and wish and pray that she wasn't. But I'm afraid if she's still alive, that that's still what's happening. And I really do apologize. I should have said trigger warning retroactively from 5 minutes ago. It's bad. It's really bad. But if you guys read The Handmaid's Tale, the violence and violation that happens with the handmaid, the wife of the assaulter assists. And I don't want to get any more graphic than that. But I think that some of these people are so twisted, and it's like the biggest humiliation that you can do to another person. It's not an act of eroticism. It's an act of violence, and it's an act of humiliation. It's intended to humiliate. It's intended to violate and degrade. It's not something that, I think some people get it confused that because it's like a lustful thing, that it's has to do with that. But no, it has to do with degrading. It has to do with basically crapping on somebody. Again, trigger warning retroactively. So let me stay caught up with you guys. I don't want you to run ahead. And I think Lindsay was threatened. Well, I'm sticking with my theory that Grandpa was intentionally dragging out litigation with Sammy's parents to ensure that they had a very heavy workload, and that maybe he had something to do with the $33.8 billion. of contracts from 2020 to 2030 that they were managing. Or maybe he thought he had something to do with that. And maybe, he thought they owed him, or they thought he owed them, or something. But I'm thinking that it might not be all contentious, that it might be kind of a partnership. And I'm not trying to throw shade on any of Kiely's family. It's just that it's all so suspicious. Just the fact that her grandfather, had water rights when he was 28 years old. He bought that property up there at the Lost Trail Lodge when he was 28, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I've researched that, but maybe someone else knows and can validate. Shan, talking to you, or anyone who's done some of that digging. I have missed some notifications. I'm just really happy to see you guys. Jazz, I might have come across as catatonic as well. I ain't judging Lindsay for her reaction, but how could she stand in front of that pic and hug Scammy just knowing what was said already? 100%, 1,000%. And yeah, she might have been threatening Scammy, but she was, I thought, at the time, the first time I saw it, and I've thought it consistently ever since, is that she was trying to demonstrate to the audience that she had affection towards Sammy. She was trying to reduce any perceived tension. So, and if things are as convoluted as I'm suggesting that they might be, with this generational long-term family history involving money and power, and then competitive kids. I mean, Scammy was 18. She's getting showed up by a little 16-year-old that was stealing all the boys Scammy had her eye on. And then we can't underestimate getting dumped. If Kiely dumped Jägermeister, and then she started dating a Hamburglar maybe, and then she dumped the Hamburglar maybe. I mean, we all probably know what it's like to get dumped. It's not fun, and people can react really badly. And Scammy was getting dumped maybe by those same two people that I just mentioned. And it was maybe Kiely's fault in her perception. And I think a lot of us have wondered too if there was some switch hitting and maybe a crush on Kiely from Scammy. I've always considered that a very real possibility. So I'm going to read your comment again that I tagged there. Jazz, I might have come across as catatonic as well. I ain't judging Lindsay for her reaction, but how could she stand in front of that pic and hug Sammy just knowing what was said already? And yeah, I think when you rewatch all of the interviews with her and you pay attention to what the date is and what information would have been available, it's very telling. The day that she hugged Scammy at that presser, I think that was the same day that she got up there. Yeah, because she was wearing the sneakers and the skirt. She got up there and said, it's unfortunate what happened with my kid, but let's fix this so that the next kid, there can be an Amber Alert. Like, oh my goodness, you guys, I haven't had a chance to say this. I have it in my notes and I want to get it right. So let me look. I'm going to state. Ara's here. Woo! Let me see what it was, because my brain not so good. I will be able to remember it though if it's missing, and it might be missing. Some of the pages have been getting ripped out of my notebook that I carry around with me everywhere I go. So is this it? The one law enforcement group that was not at the search. Any guesses? The one law enforcement group that was not at the search that really should have been. Is it on this page? Where the F is it? I just need to start a new notebook. I knew this was going to happen. So I think it's called the Center for Missing and Exploited Kids. That's the one government agency that should have been boots on the ground that was not. Does anybody know? And I think that's really important. I think that we need to write it down. And I'm just going to go ahead and Google it. It's something like that. Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Why would they not have had them involved? Because they didn't want to. Because that would have been, counterintuitive. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. As the nation's nonprofit clearinghouse and comprehensive reporting center for all issues related to the prevention of and recovery from child victimization. It's the nation's largest and most influential child protection organization. We lead the fight to protect children, creating vital resources for them and the people who keep them safe. Is that so mind-blowing? There's 24-hour hotline phone number. I'm going to just read it out loud here. It's, if somebody wants to type it into the chat, it's 1-800-843-5678. 1-800-843-5678. So let's see what you guys are talking about. None was found of Kiely, so they say. Are you talking about the DNA? But yeah, remember, the parents were out there cleaning up at 2 a.m. And then people were cleaning up like constantly, I think from 2 a.m. until like well into the afternoon of Saturday, right? Weren't they? Like what were they cleaning up? Parents aren't going to go out there and clean up beer cans and crap like that. No, they were cleaning up what was gruesome, what was a crime scene, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. And let me kick credit over to Rich Lux for that silly little saying that I've lifted from him. The first day or so, Lindsay seemed genuine and then flip-flop in verbiage. In my opinion, what did law enforcement do or say that this change occurred? Well, I think she knew what was going on. I think she was informed, and she knew that nothing could be done, that whether Kiely was unalived or not, it was a done deal, and there was no turning back. And thank you guys so much for being here. It's so lovely to see everybody. How is everybody's 3-day weekend? I hope people have been getting rest and relaxation. That's so important. I took 2 days in a row off from yoga. That's a really big deal for me at this point, but it was good to do that. I was overdoing it, as you know, I confess. In my opinion, Scammy is a bop at the moment and has no intention of having a relationship, but them all on call for when and if polite attempt at calling her a hoe. I don't know what BOP is. Is that slang for something, or is that a typo? I have no comment on Pap, not even to defend his name anymore. All I will note is keeping SF around is part of his problem. So SF's story is that he was at home in San Francisco. He heard about this lost kid, and he just drove up to the Sierra National Forest to help look. He's prowling around the Lost Trail Lodge on day 1, runs into Grandpa. Grandpa gives him a key, and the rest is history. So now he's claiming that he's worked for the family consistently for the last 2 years. But initially he said he was a volunteer. It was all out of the goodness of his heart, which I honestly don't think he has one. So yeah, I've never suspected Kiely's granddad of anything unsavory until recently. And I'm not really calling it unsavory even. I mean, it's sort of like the frog doesn't know that it's being cooked if you have the water on the stove when it's lukewarm and then you slowly bring it to a boil. The frog won't jump out. If you try to put a frog in hot water, they're going to jump right out. But if this situation with Scammy's parents was going on for many decades, he might not realize how deep he got in with the wrong people. And when you're talking $33.8 billion, you guys, I was talking with a friend of mine last night who has, she's retired now, but she has a long professional history of working for the United States government in many high clearance capacities. And I told her about the $33.8 billion, and we're having this conversation. And it was like 20 minutes later that she was like, wait, did you say billion? I thought you said million. I'm like, no, billion. It's a whole new ball game. Like, we knew about the millions to begin with. We knew that Scammy's parents were millionaires. We knew that they controlled all of the cash flow through Truckee. If you're applying for scholarships, if you're if you're an artist trying to do a paid piece for the Arts Council, all of that stuff goes through Scammy's mommy and daddy. But now we're talking billions. So, like I said, it's a whole new can of worms. Let's see. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Thank you so much, Alice. And yeah, why the U.S. Marshal, the Homeland Security? I mean, if you have the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children there, you're going to have the FBI there, but you're not going to have those others. But they thought she was missing and they were afraid that she was being exploited. So why the F didn't they call them? The answer's in the question. They did not call them because they did not want to be on their radar. And I'm sure that they were on their radar with everything going on, but, on the down low. They didn't want to be officially on the radar, of course, especially since they, them, NCSD were calling it an abduction. And remember, the Nevada County Sheriff's Department, the jail or the prison in that area is in Nevada County. So that's where all of the trafficking allegedly goes through. It's basically the cars that tell or the cars that don't tell is Shannon Moon, Sam Brown, Chris Stanio. I'm serious, you guys. In my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. John Walsh started it. No. Did he? I mean, did it come with the America's Most Wanted? I know he started that. I do not know. They're not going to clean no urine from the dirt. Well, they could just cover it with, get a shovel and cover the dirt. I mean, easily. And I don't think that there would necessarily be any DNA in your body's extraction like that. But if it's the red stuff, of course there's DNA. And I think that it was the red stuff. So, yeah. Oh, so I read it differently, what you're saying there, Watching the World. It's so funny. This is why texting is so dangerous. I totally read it like, I think the opposite of what you intended. They're not going to clean no urine from the dirt. So I thought you were saying that it's not possible to clean urine from the dirt. But no, you're saying they went there to clean, but not cleaning pee from the earth. So, yeah, I mean, you could probably take it a few other ways too, right? Oh, too funny. I worked my normal 4-hour shift this AM. LOL. Well, good for you, Fred Field. I hope you got paid double or time and a half since it's the holiday. Lindsay could have been trying to show example of the community love, blah, blah, blah. Of course she was. That's exactly what she was doing. She was like, well, I'm not going to cry for my kid. I'm just going to focus on all these kids that are here. That's exactly what she was saying and doing. Crazy how Kiely made it on secret witness and FBI wanted list, but failed to make it to any missing child exploitation list, thanks to CHP. And again, Christopher Stanio's identical twin brother, Matthew Stanio, California Highway Patrol State Trooper. I don't think that that is just all coincidence. I think that that's key elements of this case. And this, I've said this about Sam Brown all along. Why didn't Sam Brown at some point in one of the pressers just say, wow, I've been going up to the Lost Trail Lodge since I was in my 20s, and now this has happened. So sad, right? We all know that that's the case. But why didn't Trinity Backus's stepdad, Deputy Stanio, come out and say, how could this happen to my stepdaughter? I was just out here searching for Kiely Rodni 3 months ago, and now my stepdaughter is missing and deceased, and they're both 16. The fact that they didn't make those statements makes them 1,000% suspicious, in my opinion. The lack of that information. And, oh, I see in your presence is here. Hello, my dear. Hello, hello. I think it was kind of like the PTA moms, and just a few did this along with law enforcement. She did, Shan. I just found it yesterday. Oh, did what? I'll send you a screenshot. Kiely died on 8/6/22, and Kiely wasn't used in any way for anything, in my opinion. And I respect your opinion so much, Mrs. G. I have wished that to be the case. My opinion is very different, and I think it's important to just be respectful of each other's opinions, for sure, for sure. Thank you for stating yours. All grants in a grant-supported community. Watching the world, thank you. Wow. Yeah, and CB is a female. Okay, cool. Right, because you were hanging out. Squirrel says, please included what website, because I have plenty of screen recordings of lists she wasn't on in 2022. So I can compare to when it was altered in way back as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very cool, Shan. Yeah, that Wayback Machine is amazing, isn't it? For those that utilize it. I'm not one that does, but if I was going to get techie, that would be probably my first go-to right there. Hey, in your presence, I left a comment on what I believe the OPPPS means. Cool, Sandra. If you want to share, please feel free. Astro from Space says, hey family, how is everyone? Yeah, how is everybody? I hope you guys have all had a really good weekend and taking care of yourselves and your families. I was going to give you an update on my puppy dog. I haven't been able to talk about it because it's just so frightening. So I think that the mass grew back. So tomorrow I'm going to be calling. I took her to the vet on Friday, and I'm going to be calling to get a CAT scan. So she had it removed, and then, we did the consultation, and then it's grown back. So now the next step is the CAT scan and then possibly surgery again. Oh, it's so expensive too, but it's your fur baby. What you gonna do? Hello, Sandra. I saw that. No time and a half. I think it's just 250 an hour more. Store was dead this AM. Probably you meant 250 an hour more, like 250, like $2.50, or 250, like 250 a week. And Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. And hello. Anna B says, very true, Jez. I'm not sure what you're referring to since I'm a few minutes behind. That was 3 minutes ago. Nothing in the FBI document is valid, in my opinion. I agree with you on that 100% in your presence. It's cool that we can completely agree on something. And I think it's cool that we can completely disagree on something too. I mean, that's part of what makes the world go round. Archive.org and archive.ph are the shizzle. That's funny. Kiely had a very healthy and normal upbringing, and her family are a million times more devastated than all of us. I have a slightly different opinion on that too. I think it's odd. I was going to say weird, but I don't want to say weird. I just want to say it's unique that Kiely's biological father and her biological grandfather on her mom's side have been business partners ever since the divorce. That's unique. Usually in a divorce, families split. So, you know, they're probably still business partners to this day, is my guess. They had been at the time of this case opening up 2 years ago. They had been business partners since the divorce, and I forget the name of their business, but it was in Kings Beach area. Like, I looked it all up. I looked at the address. I zoomed in there. There's like a chain link fence, like a parking lot, you know, like a yard basically. And they have a lot of equipment and trucks. They kind of have like a trucking company, like a short haul trucking company, it looked like. But primarily they do snow removal. But they've got lots of, you know, big toys for that kind of thing. And I think it was generating about $1 million a year when I looked it up 2 years ago. So it was a good business. I mean, they probably employ other people too. I don't know. I didn't look into that level. That's why I like your channel and Shan's and others, because we can agree to disagree and we are all respectful to each other. Absolutely. Yeah. I still believe it was an escort event went wrong with some financial investors. And see, I lean towards that big time watching the world. And I also lean heavily towards the Alpine Club the weekend before. And Reno, that whole thing with Reno. In my opinion, it indicated they're close. The dad and the grandpa, they're very close. I mean, they were hanging out together when Kiely was discovered, and they're tight with SF Investigates. So he's a pretty freaking unsavory character, to put it politely. Anybody who's going to affiliate with somebody like him probably has to. It's not that they're doing it out of choice. It's that they don't have a choice, in my opinion. Kiely's dad, I checked, grossed $3 million yearly. Oh, cool. Thank you so much for that. That's good money, but in that area, as you know, because you live not far from there, that's just kind of a pocket change. I mean, kind of, not really, but yeah, I mean, you have to have a lot of money to live anywhere near the Bay Area these days. Not that that's near the Bay Area. It's 2 hours away, or 4 hours, according to Jägermeister. So let me look at my torn up notebook that I told you got water spilled on it the other day. So I think this was one of the last things I shared in my last lives about the whole 360. There's just no way on earth that Kiely was the one who turned off her 360 life location at 12:03 when the night of all the trouble. There's just no way that was her turning it off. She had permission to be where she was. Somebody that was committing foul play on her turned it off. It 1000% indicates foul play. So, yeah. In that scenario of the beatdown and the assaults out in the freaking savage Lord of the Flies party woods, perhaps Kiely did keep trying to escape and trying to get away. Perhaps she did. There's also the whole thing with the car keys. Her car keys have never been recovered. And then there was that story early on that she went to her car to leave, but she realized she didn't have her keys. She went back into the party and she was yelling at people because she wanted her keys. I think that that's very significant. I think that somebody stole her keys. Maybe they stole her keys and they went to her car without her. I don't think I've ever thought of that. Maybe Scammy went into Kiely's car without her permission. There's so many possibilities. The truth is always stranger than fiction. I mean, it's amazing when you allow yourself to just kind of meditate on it and not pay attention to the narratives that they've fed us, the types of ideas that make a lot of sense that you can come up with. Like, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And I love that I come to some of these little potential nuggets when I'm on live with you guys. I love it. Thank you so much for helping facilitate that process. Let's see. Shan, LOL for shizzle my nizzle. I don't agree with that. Anna B says, I could be wrong, but I don't think Lindsay and Tony would do that to their daughter. I don't think Pap would do that either, but I do think he's involved in some shady business. It's hard to be in big money and not have it get shady. And I don't know for a fact that he's involved in big money, but the 33.8 billion is big, huge money. And he's been in litigation with those people for at least 25 years. And that's serious. Litigation is stressful. And 25 years of litigation is extremely stressful. When you're in litigation, it's pretty much all you think about 24/7. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it when you fall asleep at night. It's extremely stressful. And then, you know, the problem with Lindsay and Tony is that it's usually the parents. Like, look at Madeleine McCann. Look at John Bonet Ramsey. It's so often the parents. The parents need to be ruled out. And it didn't seem like they were ever being interviewed, investigated as if they were being ruled out. And not to mention that Tony is an ex-con. I mean, I think it's Mr. Mark who had been saying early in the Madeleine Soto case, another one where the parents are to blame, that there was a lot about Madeleine Soto's mother that reminded Mr. Mark of Lindsay, and a lot about her stepdad that was reminiscent of Tony. And I agree. I think he's accurate about that. Hello, Granny Annie. I checked out one of your little 9-second videos yesterday or the day before, the gorilla dancing in Vegas. That's really funny. The Lord of the Flies reference is strange, isn't it? Car keys should have been in the ignition. Hello. Right. Well, and yeah, they were going to need the car keys to move the car. So if Kiely's the one who drove her car to that location, I'm not convinced that she ever drove her car to that location. It could have been somebody else. But if it was driven there that night, I think it was driven away from there that night. And I think it was probably Scammy, possibly, likely, that drove it away. And maybe that's when the sleepy picture was taken with Kiely in the boot, right? And go hide the car and hide Kiely so we can play the Where's Waldo game. Yeah, the Lord of the Flies reference is very strange. And, Scammy told on herself so many times, and that was one of the times. And then she quickly almost tried to retract it, but she just never said it again. Like that's so specific. It was like Lord of the Flies out there. And then the boys taking off their shirts and beating their chests with their baseball bats, hopping up on the cars. I mean, come on. The testosterone. And you can bet your bottom dollar that everybody had the hots for Miss Kiely. I mean, she was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And then that voice. And this is a small town. Everybody in town knew about her as an extremely talented prodigy of a musician. And then she's going out on her own. She's graduating high school early. She's going off to college. She's dropping cool tracks with Crepe. Maddie Soto too. To drive, one must be breathing. Yes, exactly. In your presence. Exactly. And you don't put a body in a car for a volunteer dive group to find. That was Kiely in the car. I don't know, CB. I mean, people do the body doubles often in this kind of shady business in trafficking. They do replace one body with another and pretend that it's somebody else. That's actually pretty common. So I would have to disagree with that, but I do appreciate your opinion, and I can see your point for sure. A Titanic cult Scammy is affiliated with. Well, yeah, when you think about what happened to Trinity Bacchus, and when you think about what happened to Dante, and I'm sure there's some others that I'm not thinking of at the moment. Paisley Woodard, that was Halloween or the day after. So maybe that story of her getting hit by a car is just a story. Maybe the Titanic with an S, because Halloween's a big day for them. The day after Halloween, I think, is even bigger. I'm not sure. Because isn't that like the day Dios los Muertes in your presence would know, right? The Day of the Dead. Isn't that the day after Halloween? And Fred agrees with Mr. Mark. Yeah, it was Kiely in the car. The young adults were throwing her keys, playing keep away. Yeah, Anna, I believe that. That's what they described when they first were telling that story a couple of years ago. But then that story went away and they quit telling it. They tried to take it out of the narrative. Kiely went to Prosser to lose her life, and the lake was a place of disposal. Yeah, it was a setup for sure. A scan of the body was proof it was Kiely, identified by previous injury to her left wrist. I don't know, though, because they could say that. They didn't have the serial number from the appliance, and that would be normal if you couldn't do fingerprints, if you couldn't do DNA, if you couldn't do dental records, then you would definitely look at the serial number on the appliance and match it to her medical history. But the fact that they didn't do any of that, that there's no positive confirmation of IDing her remains, is off the chart whack. Like, that delegitimizes everything, in my opinion. That just doesn't happen. That literally doesn't happen. No, I don't see Mark either, CB. He's probably hanging out with his family or something for the holiday, right? Having a backyard barbecue. Yes, no DNA of the Kiely double. I would like to know if the ME that did autopsy on Kiely was a frat or sorority woman? If so, which one? We should see more income. Such a good question, Annie. Because yeah, the Greek system is kind of cultish. I'll just say it. You are going on their word that they even scan the body. Is there a scan to actually see? Good point, watching the world. Very, very good point. It's just so disgusting. The whole thing is so disgusting. And for me, looking up the number of kids that go missing every day, it was like 2,100 or more that go missing in the United States every single day. And then like 800 of those aren't reported. So they're saying somewhere around like 1,300 or more are reported missing every day in the United States. So with that many kids missing, what makes a case like Kiely's hit national and international news immediately, and what makes it stay in our mind's eye for 2 freaking years? I mean, for most of us here, we probably have not quit thinking about Kiely for a single day for the last 24 months, right? Dias de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, November 1st. Thank you, Alice. That's lovely to know. I mean, I understand like the coolness of that, like connecting with your ancestors, especially now that my mother's passed away. But I think it can get goofy when you tie it into the Titanic stuff. I think in Mexico that's a very legitimate spiritual holiday, right? But in the Sierra Nevadas, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people from Mexico that live there that celebrate it like that. Oh, man. And then the whole Mexican family, the beautiful Mexican family party. Oh, man, give me a break. Body doubles in red rum cases. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. Not an M case, an accident, and those who examined the body called it that. Yeah. Let me see what else I got in my scrappy notebook here. The Sandra Birchmore case, you guys, I'm really hoping that is going to shed some light on corrupt law enforcement. I mean, that's crazy. She was red-rummed 3.5 years ago, more than 3.5 years ago, or just about, I think it was like February of 2021. And it was only a couple months ago that the self-harm was argued and removed from the official documents. So it was only a couple months ago that it was changed to homicide. And then it was only a couple weeks ago that the police officer that had been grooming her and violating her for at least 8 years and probably more like 10, that was married with kids, he was only arrested a couple weeks ago. But then you have his identical twin brother who probably didn't commit the red rum, but committed the statutory, along with at least one other officer. Gross. Absolutely gross. And this is not unheard of in some law enforcement agencies. People get power hungry, power thirsty, power drunk, and they can't control themselves. If you have a propensity towards underage minors, you know that's illegal, and you would try not to act on that impulse if you could control it, unless you want to go to jail, unless you want to lose your family and have your wife divorce you. But no, these people can't control themselves. It's like an addiction. completely out of their control, in my opinion. Let's see. Also, the federal funds to look for Kylie eaten up. Oh, Granny Annie, was that a Freudian slip? The eaten up. But not a photo of the huge search crew. Funds sucked up, though. 18-year-old in charge. Right. The 18-year-old in charge. And in Shan's 3.5-hour live, the most recent live, I'll put a link to it here in the description. The days of the search and the day of the party are out of focus, when normally you can see crystal clear. You can read somebody's license plate with those cameras. I hate stupid people. In your present says federal funds to look for Kylie. Right. Wasn't it like $3 million? So they got all that money into the Truckee community. Did any of you see Kenny's scenario and Shan's live on Friday? I think I did, but I don't remember what it was, Anna, if you want to share. Yeah, I have a vague recollection because it didn't really resonate for me, but if you want to share it here, please do. Can't have it both ways. Agree, but not with the results. Okay. So, yes, the weird interview with SF where he was crying and talking about how he got involved in this case and how he couldn't believe that people were angry with him. I think that was on the channel Conspiracy, and it was like a 2-hour interview. And that was my first exposure to SF Investigates. And at first he sounded credible, but when he's like whining and crying like this man baby, just like so sad and fussy, I was just like, who the F is this guy? And I got suspicious of him in that interview. I didn't start out suspicious. I started out taking him at face value, just like the skid mark. I saw his freaking video of finding stuff the morning that he put it out. It was like an hour long. He's in his kitchen. He's crying like nobody cares but me. How come I was the one that had to find these things? And I'm watching it, kind of buying it, thinking this is weird AF. That was the only time in my 2-year career of having my YouTube channel that I went and made myself a tinfoil hat. I put it on to make my video that day because I needed a tinfoil hat to keep skid mark out of me brain. He was killing me with that crap. Let's see. Agree with the report, not the results. And it involves the collision at 147. Juan and Jeanette trying to get Kylie out of there, but they were stopped. Yeah, thank you, Annabese, for jogging my memory. See, it didn't resonate for me, but I appreciate the perspective and the possibility. I mean, it's pretty weird to have 3 people go missing from a car show. Well, Kylie wasn't technically at the car show, right? That night. But to have 3 people go missing in an area relatively small in one night, that is odd. That is extremely suspicious. And the chances of it not being at least indirectly related are slim, I'd say, in my opinion. Not one thing or person sound credible to me. After 2 years, only proof still is lies. I agree, watching the world. And then that freaking FBI file is just like the icing on the cake. Well, let's see. Oh, I did some research on the Micah Miller case I wanted to share with you guys if you're interested. Well, they keep forgetting no construction on Sundays, holidays in my city. Yeah, that reminds me of the Suzanne Morphew case, because Barry Morphew tried to say that he was doing construction in the suburb out there by Denver. I'm forgetting the name of the suburb. But he was saying that he was doing his construction project on Mother's Day on a Sunday in an area that clearly has zero construction permits on weekends, period. Hey, Sherry, gotta go labor away on Labor Day. Have a great day, all. Thanks for hanging out, CB. Don't you have two people that do separate portions of on autopsy tech, which prepares everything for the pathologist to examine? Honestly, I do not know because I've never been around it. I mean, I've read reports, but I've never been there present for anything like that. So if you guys don't mind, I'd like to switch gears quickly to Micah Miller's case because that girl needs some justice. Her family needs some justice. So remember that JP, and I love that Veronica Adams calls him JP Diddy. I think that's perfect. Remember his son, Logan Ryan Hardy, who is only 2 years younger than Micah. So Logan Ryan Hardy was arrested for domestic violence 3 times in the last like 9 or 12 months before Micah's passing. Also, he had hit on Micah in her kitchen when JP wasn't around, and Micah told JP about it. And that's just creepy AF. But JP had run over a woman or hit her twice with his car when he was 19. And I was always curious if that was Logan Ryan Hardy's mother. And I found out that it was not. So Linnea is Logan's mother's name. And the person that he ran over, it's in the paperwork. All of this stuff is easy to find online, so I'm not like doxing anybody. The one that he ran over on February 8th of 98 is named Jennifer Garland. So JP Diddy got that pardoned, and he also got his entire file pardoned, his entire like criminal history. So in 1995, when he was 17 years old, he rear-ended a car causing injury. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but in 2022, he asked a judge to purge his criminal history so that he could buy pew-pews, and the judge thought that was a reasonable idea. I'm thinking paid off, right? So also in 98, JP Diddy was convicted of driving with a suspended license. So I don't know if it was suspended in 95, if it would have been suspended that long, but the kid was nothing but trouble. And then his own kid, nothing but trouble. And yeah. And then, you know, to remember too, that JP got Linnea pregnant when he was 16. And I don't know how old Linnea was when she had Logan, but in the paperwork, and I was going to read you guys something that is terrible. It's a letter that JP Diddy's father wrote to the court to try to fight for JP Diddy to get custody of Logan. And he says something about her only having a 9th grade education. So I don't know if she was in 9th grade when that happened, but I took screenshots of the letter. Let me see if I can read this for you. This is December 3rd, 1998. And I hope it's okay with people that I'm switching gears. I don't want to get into arguments about Kiely's thing, so it seems like a good opportunity to do that. Anything going on to crime? Anyone going to Crime Con? Tickets are selling out. $349 is the lowest. September 5th to the 7th, 2025, Denver, Airbnb split, hotel is full. Wow. That's wild. Okay, so this is December 3rd, 1998, for anybody who's followed the Micah Miller case. And JP's father is a trafficker, and he's got a criminal history too. So he wrote this letter to the judge to try to get Logan's biological mom to not have custody of him. And I'm just going to start. To whom it may concern. It is with a heavy heart that I see my son having to settle for joint custody when I feel that Logan needs the loving, stable Christian family that we would be giving him. We love Logan like our own child. I believe that his mother also loves him and believe that to the best of her ability, she has and would care for him. However, when I look at the past 2 years and think of the future, I shudder at what kind of life Logan will have with his mother as the primary custodian. Although I have offered to homeschool Lynn to help her get her GED, Linnea, she has refused all efforts to gain an education beyond the 9th grade. This is why my son and we want to know that Logan will be given the best care possible. John Paul is enrolled in 2 colleges. He will be student teaching by next fall so he can earn money to continue his studies in the secular field in the area of medicine. Wouldn't Logan be better off in a home that promotes education? Our family is active as an entire family in our church. Logan goes to church and will always be in church as long as he is with his father. Wouldn't a child be better off brought up in a stable Christian home than drug from place to place and never go to church? Interesting he used the word drug, because it's my opinion and my belief that JP Diddy has been addicted his entire life to substances. My opinion. I have had to go and pick Logan up at an apartment of one man Logan was living with, and now it is a different man. We do not even know where the child is staying most of the time. Wouldn't he be better off with his father in a beautiful home we own and know that he would always be provided for financially? John Paul does not drink, never used drugs, has stopped smoking. His only problem as a teenager has been his driving, which has improved. There is presently a problem with the accusation of reckless driving, but we believe that it'll be resolved. Oh, wait a second. This letter is written at the December of 98, and it was February of 98 that he drugged that woman 100 feet and hit her twice. I mean, whoa. Let's see. The accusation of reckless driving, but we believe that it will be resolved once the entire investigation is complete. No, it took another 24 years to get resolved. 24 years. Okay, let's see. Once the entire investigation is complete, we feel the charges will either be dropped or he will be found innocent. This is the only problem he has ever caused us. John Paul works, goes to school, and mind you that he had left in one car before he hit the woman with his car. He came back in another car and he had tape over his license plate. And this was in prep while people were preparing for a hurricane coming through. He's busy mowing people down with his car. His father's just a piece of crap. This is the only problem he has ever caused us. John Paul works. He goes to school. He's getting an education. He is faithful and he serves the church. He lives in a stable home. He has never committed a crime, and he has shown tremendous responsibility towards Logan. From the very first, he and we began to support Logan. Even when in high school, as a senior, he worked to help support Linnea and Logan. I'm just trying to think with the math, like how old JP would have only been, like 19 about when this was written, JP Diddy. So, he's 19. He's the father of a 3-year-old, basically, about. And it sounds like Linnea was younger than him. So he was 16 when Logan was born. It sounds like Linnea was even younger. Finally, I hate to see Logan continue to be used as a weapon by Linnea. Linnea denied us the opportunity to see Logan's first Christmas because John Paul would not give her an Elmo doll. She has denied the request to give Logan both their last names, Hardy Miller, because she says John Paul was with her at the hospital. Nevertheless, considering he has not seen her for 9 months and felt that she had been with others, he felt he needed to have the paternity test before he could emotionally open his heart. Oh, what a bastard. The last name of Hardy is not even Linnea's real name. So I don't know if she understands. She is denying a male child the right to carry the name of the father, but he is a weapon to her, and we have seen it repeatedly. Man, these Millers weaponize their authority, do they not? In conclusion, John Paul and we could give Logan, 1, a stable, beautiful home to live in versus being drugged from one home to another. 2, a first-rate Christian private school education versus a family that has shown, he forgot to finish that sentence. 3, a Christian home with a Christian life versus no church life with the mother. 4, a financially secure future with his own bedroom and an identity of growing up in a nice, safe neighborhood versus not knowing where he will sleep from month to month. 5, Logan needs the last name of his father. Linnea will never understand what her lack of education, maturity, and knowledge of psychology, just how important it will be as a male child for this boy to have the identity of the name of the father. I love the way he says of the father, as if he's talking about Christ or God, because I'm sure he thinks that JP and himself are like Christ and God, right? You would think that Linnea would want what is best for Logan versus considering her feelings. We offered a $50,000 life insurance policy on John Paul for Logan to insure him the funds for a college education if anything happened to John Paul, but Linnea refused it unless she was the beneficiary. Why should someone who cares more for himself or herself than the child have custody? What a rat bastard. Just my opinion. But yeah, kids need their mamas. I deeply regret that this child is being robbed of so much, but I can only say that to the degree that Linnea and the courts will allow, we will do everything possible to see that Logan, our only grandchild, has everything that we can give him, that we can give in love, care, concern, and financial resources to see that he has a healthy and happy life. Sincerely, Dr. R. Wayne Miller, Senior Pastor, President, Headmaster, President. So I just want to show you that part where, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the way the phone, the lighting. So that's how he signs his name. Like, I've got a bunch of letters after my name, but when I sign my name, I feel like such a jerk when I use all those freaking letters. Fucking alphabet soup. I mean, so he signs it in his cursive, Dr. R. Wayne Miller, and then he types underneath, Dr. R. Wayne Miller. Okay, that's fine. Senior Pastor, Cathedral Baptist Church. President, Cathedral Bible College. Headmaster, Grandstand Academy, president, Myrtle Beach Ministerial Association. Like the senior pastor, the president, and the headmaster, those are all his business that he owns. And instead of just saying, like, I own my own business, he's trying to pretend that he's three things rather than the one. And then, so he's the president of the Myrtle Beach Ministerial Association, which explains a lot of the power and control that him and JP have in that area. Does it not? Let's see. Get caught up with you guys. Anna Bees, about 15 minutes ago, said it involves a collision. Oh, right. That was the thing with Kenny. Was that the last one that I tagged? I don't think so. Well, they keep forgetting no construction on Sundays. Got to go. Okay, where are we? Sorry. The CrimeCon thing. I watched that as well, Jazz, and was scratching my head. Excuse me, but you should have not touched, and law enforcement have bagged and marked for evidence. Yeah, so you're talking about the crime scene. They should have treated Micah Miller's place of her final resting as a crime scene, because allegedly there was no one present when she passed away. And any unattended passing needs to be treated as a crime scene until foul play can be ruled out. But they did no such thing. Absolutely no such thing. Anna Bees, that letter is so gross. I know. That's why I wanted to read it to you guys, because I had come across it once before, but I didn't think to share it. And it just exemplifies people abusing their power, abusing their privilege. I mean, absolutely disgusting, and not in the best interest of the child. I mean, seriously, JP Diddy is a madman, hell on wheels. Like, it's not going to be in the best interest to try to separate a kid from the biological mom. And her being so young, I would imagine that she had the support of her parents. So the kid had grandparents on the maternal side. Anna B says that letter is so gross. I mean, really, that man was a Prado and taught JP to do the same. And then I assume Logan followed suit. Well, we know that Logan was arrested 3 times for domestic violence last year, like in the fall. And then I think twice in the fall, and then once in the winter, like in February of this year. So I think that he was charged with domestic violence, and I think the charge is stuck. Oh, Granny Annie says JP is so much like my kid's dad. So glad I had the guts to get away. He was so close to unaliving me, right down to thinking he was God and trying to make me do things with other men. Oh, I'm so sorry, Granny Annie. And then they can throw you under the bus and use it against you, right? They can like manipulate you to do that, and then say that, you know, that you don't have morals, basically. Get out if you can. Absolutely. Head of household, man is boss. Yeah. And in JP's picture, where's his biological mother? Why isn't she involved? I can only imagine why. And did he have a stable life? I mean, he went on to marry Allison, and have 4 kids, and then cheat on her with the babysitter that he started grooming when she was 15. And then by the time she was, 23? they got married when she was 23. So he performed the wedding ceremony between Micah and her first husband when she was 18. And then he was having the affair with her already. He was having the affair with her from the time she was 15. The poor first husband of Micah, I mean, how devastated he must have been from that whole experience, because I think he was John Paul's employee, bestie, and then he lost his best friend and his beautiful wife simultaneously. And talk about betrayal. I mean, I think it was just last night in Watch the Obsession had a live that I was able to watch part of, and she was talking about betrayal, and betrayal is so severe. When you think about Kiely Rodni getting treated the way we think she was treated at this party, I mean, there's nothing like betrayal, nothing like it. And it's just so sad when you can't trust people. Yeah. All right, you guys, we are just at about an hour and 20 minutes. I am so happy to see you guys. I missed you like crazy. I almost went live every day since my last live. I think the last one was Thursday or Friday. And then I had all these allergies. Like I said, I didn't start taking the Sudafed until yesterday. My brain fog was so severe that I forgot that Sudafed is what I needed. Like I was trying all these other allergy meds and nothing was working. And then I was like, oh, right, nothing works except that one thing. What is it? I was so brain fogged, I couldn't even think of it. And so thank goodness I had some and have been able to get me brain back on track. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off in a minute here, just because the other thing, too, is my voice and my throat have been all wonky from the allergies. I mean, it's been severe. We had all this 100-degree weather. Finally, it's broken and it feels like fall, since it is the first day of fall, right? So what else, you guys? Is there anything else anyone wants to say before we wrap up? Let me check my... let's see. Check my phone, check my notes. I want to say that all of the people in Kiely Rodni's case who spoke directly to the public and to the camera, that they're all fishy, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. And then, yeah, I do need to start a brand new notebook. This one is just getting torn to shreds. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to just try to close it down. To feel better, Jez, love you. I am feeling a lot better. Otherwise, I would not have been able to do this at all. That's why I didn't come on yesterday or the day before or even Friday. Was I was just so out of it. And I was on Shan's panel for an hour on Friday night, but being on a panel is a lot more laid back than running your own live. So I was able to do that, but I was even foggy on that. You know, I was just sort of not so sharp. Anyway, I'm trying. Trying to focus. So yes, have a fabulous Labor Day, you guys. I hope to see you each day this week. Fingers crossed that things work out. What else? Take really good care of yourselves. Hopefully you'll have some family time and some time with your just with your pets, with yourself. I'm gonna take my little mic off and put it up here, I guess. I don't know. There. Okay. Happy Labor Day to everyone, even though I have to work tonight. I had brain fog on Saturday night at work. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have work though. I try to be appreciative of having work. I know my husband's schedule is horrible. He works overnight shifts, and there's always an upshot to that, right? There's an upshot to everything. But even like working on my birthday, I try to just be happy that I've got work if I can't get work off for my birthday. So, but kids' birthdays is another story. You have to have your kids' birthdays off, right? All right, you guys, peace out, love and light, blessings. Eat your veggies, eat your protein. Make sure you're kind to yourself, kind to other people. Oh, check out all my freaking cool necklaces. I wanted to give a shout out to Kiely Rodni and her multiple necklace wearing, because until seeing her with her 3 necklaces, I think my whole life I was always a one necklace at a time kind of person. And I actually have 5 necklaces on right now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I lied. I have 4 on. I think I had 5 on yesterday. What was the other one? Anyway, it don't matter. Are they so cool? I think I made 2 of them. This one I just bought yesterday. I love it. It's like blue. You can't really see it too well. And anyway, me and my jewelry, me and my home decor. All right. Love and light. See you soon. Thanks so much for watching. You're much appreciated. And hit that like button on the way out if you haven't hit it already. Thanks again. Have a great day.